The mirror in my bedroom glares back at me, a new pimple on my nose screaming louder than the chaos in my head. I flop onto my bed, the springs creaking under my weight, and let out a sigh that could rival a Shakespearean tragedy. At 17, every problem feels like the end of the world. My outdated phone, a clunky relic 2 years behind the sleek models my classmates flaunt. The sneakers I can't afford, the ones everyone at school will be wearing by Monday. And Lucas, the boy who's been the sun in my orbit for months, strolling past me in the hallway like I'm invisible. My purple hair, my nose piercing, my carefully curated rebellion, they're not enough to make him notice. My room, plastered with indie band posters, is the only place that gets me, its walls holding my frustrations like a silent confidant. "Joyce, dinner's ready." Mom's voice drifts down the hall, warm but insistent. "Not hungry," I yell back, scrolling through the school group chat where the buzz about those damn sneakers stabs at my pride. The door creaks open, and Mom steps in, balancing a plate of spaghetti and meatballs, her eyes crinkling with the patience she's honed over years of dealing with me. "Thought you might want this anyway," she says, setting the plate on my nightstand. She brushes a strand of my purple hair from my face, unfazed by the color I fought for months ago. "Mom, you don't get it," I mutter, clutching my pillow like a shield. "Everyone's getting those sneakers, and Lucas doesn't even know I exist." Her smile is soft, the kind that says she's been here before. "When I was your age, I thought my problems were the whole world too." I roll my eyes. "It's different." She sits on the bed's edge, undeterred. "Maybe, but one day, you'll see these things. Pimples, boys' sneakers, are just a small piece of what matters." I groan, sinking deeper into my pillow. "You always say that." "Because it's true," she says, patting my arm. "Tomorrow's Anna Lane's wedding. Don't forget." The mention of the wedding twists my stomach. Do I really have to go? My cousins will stare at my hair and piercings like I'm from another planet, and everyone's gonna grill me about college. Mom sighs, standing. "It's a few hours, Joyce. It means a lot to Elaine to have family there." She pauses at the door. "Dinner's right here. Try to eat." When she's gone, guilt prickles at me. But it's drowned out by the familiar ache of not fitting in. Nobody gets how hard it is to be the odd one out, the girl who's always a step behind. Tomorrow, I'll be surrounded by perfect cousins with their perfect plans, while I'm still figuring out who I am. I pull my headphones on, letting the angsty chords of my favorite band drown out the world, but the thought of the wedding lingers like a storm cloud. The banquet hall sparkles with opulence when we arrive, floral arrangements bursting with roses, chandeliers casting a golden glow over linen-draped tables. I tug at my black dress, a deliberate middle finger to Mom's suggestion of pastels, my bracelets jangling as I weave through the crowd. My cousins are already clustered, their laughter bright and their outfits screaming money. "Joyce, it's been ages," Ingrid chirps, her pale pink dress pristine, her new phone gleaming in her hand. "Your hair's bold." I force a smile, knowing it's no compliment. "Thanks." Soon, Tommy joins us, his tie perfectly knotted. "I'm set for law school in the capital," he brags, "third phase of admissions done." Ingrid chimes in, "Medicine for me, Dad's lining up my hospital internship." Their eyes turn to me, expectant. "And you, Joyce, still undecided?" Tommy's tone drips with condescension, and I shrug, muttering, "Exploring options." The truth is, nothing feels right. Not law, not medicine, not the paths they're so smug about. I slip away, their voices fading as I find a quiet spot by the pool, the water glinting under the string lights. I sink into a lounge chair, headphones back on, the music a barrier between me and this world of polished perfection. The pool area is calmer, older guests chatting at tables, their voices a low hum. I close my eyes, letting the lyrics pull me into a space where I don't have to pretend. But a sudden ripple of laughter breaks through, sharp and mocking. I yank off my headphones, my eyes snapping open to see a crowd pointing at the pool. An elderly woman, dressed in a navy gown, flounders in the water, her white hair plastered to her face. She's not drowning, but she's struggling, her hands slipping on the pool's edge. The guests watch, some chuckling, one guy filming with his phone. "Probably had a senior moment," someone snickers. My heart races, anger flaring at their indifference. This isn't right. Without a second thought, I kick off my shoes and dive in, the cold water shocking my skin as I swim toward her, ready to do what no one else will. The banquet hall pulses with life, a glittering cage of laughter and clinking glasses, but I feel like an outsider in my own skin. My black dress clings to me, a stark contrast to the sea of pastel gowns and tailored suits swirling around the dance floor. My purple hair draws stares, some curious, some judgmental, and my bracelets jangle as I navigate through the crowd, dodging aunts who want to pinch my cheeks and uncles asking about my future plans. Aunt Elaine, radiant in her wedding gown, waves from across the room, but I can't muster the energy to match her enthusiasm. My cousins' voices still echo in my head. Tommy's smug boasts about law school, Ingrid's casual mention of her hospital internship, their lives mapped out like they've cracked some code I can't even read. I'm 17, and the weight of their expectations feels like a boulder on my chest. I slip past a group of chatting relatives, their perfume heavy in the air, and head back toward the pool area, craving the quiet I found earlier. The pool glimmers under the string lights, its surface calm now, a deceptive mirror reflecting the festive glow. Older guests dot the tables nearby, their conversations softer, their laughter less forced. I sink back into my lounge chair, the cushion cool against my bare arms, and pop my headphones back on. The music is loud, raw, the kind of sound that feels like it's screaming for me. I close my eyes, letting it drown out the chatter, the judgment, the nagging sense that I don't belong here. My phone buzzes in my pocket, and I glance at it. A group chat notification, more talk about those sneakers I'll never afford. I shove it back, frustration bubbling. Why does everything feel so out of reach? Lucas, the sneakers, a future that doesn't make me want to scream. It's all just beyond my grasp, and nobody seems to care. The laughter starts again, sharp and mocking, cutting through my music. I rip off my headphones, irritation flaring, and see the crowd by the pool pointing, their faces lit with amusement. The elderly woman is still there, her navy dress billowing in the water, her hands fumbling for the pool's edge. She's not panicking, but her movements are slow, strained, her white hair clinging to her face like wet cotton. "Someone help her!" I shout, my voice sharper than I intend, but the guests just watch. A guy in a blazer, maybe 20, holds up his phone, filming, a smirk on his face. "Bet she thought the pool was the bathroom," someone says, and the crowd chuckles. "Senior moment," another voice adds, dripping with condescension. My stomach twists, anger surging like a tide. These people, dressed in their finery, sipping champagne, are laughing at someone's struggle. It's not just wrong, it's cruel. I stand, my heart pounding, and kick off my shoes, the pavement rough under my feet. My dress feels heavy, but I don't care. I dive into the pool, the cold water hitting me like a slap, soaking through my clothes and chilling my skin. The crowd's laughter fades as I swim toward the woman, my strokes steady, despite the weight of my dress. "It's okay," I say, reaching her, my voice softer now. "I've got you." She looks at me, her eyes wide with relief and embarrassment. "Thank you, dear," she says, her voice trembling. My handkerchief fell, and I slipped trying to get it. I wrap an arm around her shoulders, feeling her slight frame shake, and guide her toward the pool stairs. The water drags at us, but I keep my grip firm, helping her climb each step. The crowd watches, their laughter gone, replaced by murmurs and a few half-hearted offers of towels as we emerge, dripping and shivering. We make our way to the venue's bathroom, the marble floor slick under my wet feet. An employee hurries over with a stack of towels, her eyes kind but hurried. "I'll find some dry clothes," she says, disappearing down the hall. The bathroom is warm, its gold fixtures gleaming under soft lights, a stark contrast to the chaos outside. I help the woman settle onto a cushioned bench, wrapping a towel around her shoulders. "I'm Joyce," I say, turning on a hairdryer to help dry her hair. "Elaine's niece." She smiles, her hands steadying as she takes another towel. "I'm Wilma, Carlo's aunt, the groom." Her voice is soft but clear, her eyes sharp despite the ordeal. "I can't believe nobody helped you," I say, my anger creeping back. "They just watched like it was a joke." Wilma's smile is sad, knowing. "When you get to my age, you see it more," she says, adjusting the towel. "People get so caught up in themselves, their phones, their image, they forget to look around." Her words hit me like a quiet thunderclap, stirring something I can't name. I think of my own complaints. The sneakers, Lucas, my endless need to fit in. Have I been like them, too absorbed to see beyond my own world? I don't want to be like that, I say, my voice barely above a whisper, the dryer humming in my hand. Wilma's eyes meet mine, warm and wise. You already aren't, Joyce. You jumped in when nobody else did. That's not nothing. The weight of her words settles over me, heavy but not crushing, like a blanket on a cold night. I don't know it yet, but this moment, this choice is about to change everything. The bathroom's warm air hums with the hairdryer's low buzz as I help Wilma dry her white hair, now tangled and damp from the pool. My dress clings to my skin, heavy with water, and my bracelets jangle with each movement, a reminder of the rebellion I wore so proudly just hours ago. Wilma sits on the cushioned bench, her navy gown still dripping, but her posture is steadier now, her hands clutching the towel I draped over her shoulders. The marble walls reflect the soft light, making the room feel like a sanctuary. A stark contrast to the chaos of the banquet hall. I'm still shaken by the crowd's laughter, their indifference, as Wilma struggled in the water. The guy filming, the snide comments about senior moments. It's all replaying in my head, stoking a fire I didn't know I had. They just stood there, I say, my voice tight, the dryer's heat warming my fingers. Like it was a show. Wilma's eyes meet mine in the mirror, calm but heavy with understanding. People often do, she says softly. It's easier to laugh than to act. I turn off the dryer, the sudden quiet amplifying her words. She adjusts the towel, her movements deliberate despite her age. When I was young, I didn't notice it as much, she continues, her voice steady, like she's telling a story she's lived 100 times. But now, at my age, I see it everywhere. People pass by someone struggling, on the street, on a bus, even at a fancy party like this, because they're too wrapped up in their own lives. I think of the pool, the guests with their champagne flutes and designer clothes, their eyes gleaming with amusement instead of concern. I think of myself too, lost in my own drama, pimples, sneakers, Lucas, before this moment forced me to look up. I didn't even think, I admit, setting the dryer down. I just jumped in. Wilma smiles, a small, knowing curve of her lips. That's what makes you different, Joyce. You saw me when nobody else did. Her words hit me hard, like a stone dropped into still water, rippling through thoughts I've never voiced. I've spent so long feeling invisible, raging against a world that doesn't see me, that I never considered who I might be failing to see. My mom's tired eyes after a long shift, my dad's quiet sacrifices to keep our family afloat, the kids at school who might feel as out of place as I do. I don't want to be like them, I say, my voice catching. The ones who just watch. Wilma reaches out, her wrinkled hand resting on mine, cool but firm. You already aren't. You chose to act, and that choice matters more than you know. I swallow, a lump forming in my throat. And for the first time I feel a spark of something new. Not anger, not frustration, but purpose. The bathroom door opens, and the venue employee returns with a bundle of dry clothes, a simple sweater and slacks for Wilma, a plain dress for me. Best I could find, she says, her smile apologetic. I thank her, helping Wilma change behind a partition, my hands still trembling from the cold and the weight of this moment. As I slip into the borrowed dress, the fabric soft but unfamiliar, I catch my reflection in the mirror. My purple hair is a mess, my makeup smudged, but my eyes look different, clearer, like I'm seeing myself for the first time. Wilma emerges, her navy gown replaced by the sweater, her dignity intact despite the ordeal. You're a good girl, Joyce, she says, adjusting her glasses. Don't let anyone make you feel otherwise. We step back into the banquet hall, the music and chatter hitting us like a wave. Eyes turn our way, some curious, some embarrassed, but I hold my head high, Wilma's arm linked with mine. Mom spots us from across the room, her face shifting from concern to something softer, pride, maybe, when a guest leans over to whisper what happened. My cousins, Tommy and Ingrid, are nowhere to be seen, probably off boasting about their perfect futures. I guide Wilma to a table, where she insists on sitting with me for a while. Tell me about yourself, she says, her voice warm, like we're old friends. I hesitate, used to deflecting, but her sincerity pulls me in. I'm kind of a mess, I say, laughing despite myself. I don't know what I want to do with my life, and everyone else seems to have it figured out. She nods, not judging, just listening. You're young, she says. You don't need all the answers yet. What you did today, that's a start. The rest of the wedding passes in a blur. I stay close to Wilma, ignoring the whispers and stares, feeling a strange calm settle over me. When Mom finds me later, her hug is tighter than usual. "I heard what you did," she says, her voice thick. "I'm so proud of you." I shrug, embarrassed, but her words warm me like the sun. As we drive home, the city lights streaking past, I think about Wilma's words, about seeing beyond myself. I've spent so long chasing things, sneakers, attention, a place to belong, that I never stopped to look at the world around me. Tonight, I did, and it feels like a door has cracked open, letting in light I didn't know I needed. I don't have all the answers, but for the first time, I'm okay with that. I'm starting to see a path, even if it's just one step at a time. The pool water still clings to my memory, its cold bite lingering as I sit with Wilma at the banquet hall table, her hand resting lightly on mine. My borrowed dress feels stiff, but the warmth of her presence softens the edges of the evening. The crowd has moved on, their laughter and chatter resuming as if nothing happened, but I can still hear the mocking snickers. See the guy with his phone filming Wilma's struggle like it was some viral stunt. My heart pounds with a mix of anger and pride, anger at their indifference, pride that I didn't just stand there. Wilma sips her water, her navy gown now a pile of damp fabric in a corner, replaced by the simple sweater and slacks. Her eyes, sharp despite the lines etched around them, study me with a quiet intensity. "You didn't hesitate," she says, her voice soft but clear. "That's rare, Joyce. Most people would have looked away." I shift in my seat, the metal chair cool against my legs, and fiddle with one of my bracelets, the silver catching the string lights above. I couldn't let you stay in there," I say, my voice low, almost embarrassed. "They were laughing, Wilma. Laughing." Her smile is sad but not surprised, like she's seen this too many times. "People hide behind laughter when they don't know what to do," she says. "Or when they don't want to do anything." I think of my cousins, Tommy and Ingrid, probably still bragging about their perfect futures somewhere in the hall. Would they have jumped in? I doubt it. Their worlds are too polished, too self-contained to notice someone else's struggle. I was like that too, wasn't I? Obsessed with sneakers and Lucas, blind to anything beyond my own drama. The music shifts to a slower tune, couples swaying on the dance floor, and I catch Mom's eye across the room. She's talking to Aunt Elaine, her face lit with a pride I'm not used to seeing. I look back at Wilma, who's watching the crowd with a thoughtful gaze. "When I was your age," she says, "I was like you in some ways, angry, restless, feeling like the world owed me something." I blink, surprised. She doesn't seem like someone who ever struggled to fit in. "What changed?" I ask, leaning forward. She chuckles, a soft sound that carries years of wisdom. "I learned that the world doesn't owe you anything, but you can owe it something. Small acts, like what you did today, they add up. They shape who you become." Her words sink into me, heavy but not crushing, like a stone I can carry. I think about my mom, setting that plate of spaghetti on my nightstand last night, her tired eyes still full of patience. I think about Dad, working late to pay for my phone, my clothes, my life, while I sulked about what I didn't have. I've been so selfish, I admit, my voice barely above a whisper. Always thinking about what I want, not what anyone else needs. Wilma pats my hand, her touch cool and steady. Recognizing that is the first step. Most people never get there. You're young, Joyce. You've got time to choose a different path. I nod, my throat tight, feeling like I'm standing at a crossroads I didn't know existed until tonight. A waiter passes by offering a tray of sparkling cider, and I take a glass, the bubbles fizzing against my lips. Wilma declines, her hands folded neatly in her lap. "You remind me of my daughter," she says, her voice softening. "She was stubborn, fierce, always ready to fight for what was right. She's gone now, but you've got that same fire." My chest aches at the sadness in her eyes, and I want to ask more, but something stops me. Instead, I say I'm sorry, and thank you for seeing something in me. She smiles, brighter now. "You made it easy to see, Joyce. You jumped into that pool without a second thought. That's not just courage, that's heart." The conversation shifts as Aunt Elaine approaches, her wedding dress shimmering under the lights. "Joyce, I heard what you did," she says, her voice warm. "You're incredible." I blush, unused to praise, and mumble, "It was nothing." But Wilma shakes her head. "It was everything, dear." Elaine squeezes my shoulder before moving on, and I feel Mom's gaze again, steady and proud. The rest of the evening passes in a haze, dancing, toasts, the clink of glasses. But Wilma's words stay with me, like a song I can't stop humming. When it's time to leave, I help her to her car, her steps slow but sure. "Keep that heart of yours open," she says as we part, her hand lingering on mine. "It'll take you far." In the car with Mom, the city lights blur past, and I'm quiet, not sulking for once, just thinking. "You okay?" Mom asks, glancing over. "Yeah," I say, and I mean it. Just figuring things out. She smiles, not pushing, and I lean my head against the window, the cool glass soothing. Wilma's words echo, small acts, shaping who I become. I think about the pool, the laughter, the choice I made without thinking. It wasn't about being a hero, it was about seeing someone who needed help and not looking away. For the first time, I feel like I could be more than the girl who doesn't fit in. Maybe I'm not meant to fit in, maybe I'm meant to stand out, to act when others don't. The thought is scary but exhilarating, like stepping into a new song. One I'm ready to learn the words to. The banquet hall's glow fades behind us as Mom drives us home, the city lights streaking past like fireflies in the dark. I'm still damp beneath the borrowed dress, my skin prickling from the pool water and the weight of Wilma's words. My bracelets clink softly as I fidget, my mind replaying our conversation in the bathroom, her voice steady and wise. "You chose to act, and that choice matters more than you know." It's like she reached into my chest and flipped a switch, illuminating corners of myself I've ignored for years. I've been so caught up in my own world, pining for Lucas, obsessing over sneakers, resenting my cousins' perfect lives, that I never stopped to see the people around me. Mom's quiet humming fills the car, and I glance at her, noticing the faint lines around her eyes, the way her hands grip the wheel after a long day. Guilt tugs at me, sharp and unfamiliar. I've been taking her for granted, haven't I? Back home, I slip into my room, the indie band poster staring down like old friends who suddenly feel distant. The plate of spaghetti Mom left last night is still on my nightstand, cold now, a silent reminder of her patience. I sit on my bed, the springs creaking, and pull my knees to my chest. Wilma's words keep circling. People get so caught up in themselves, they forget to look around. I think about the pool, the laughter, the guy filming like Wilma's struggle was a TikTok trend. I could have been one of them, scrolling past, too wrapped up in my own drama to care. But I wasn't. I jumped in, and that choice feels like a line drawn in the sand, separating the old Joyce from someone new, someone I'm just starting to meet. The next morning, I wake to the smell of coffee and bacon, a rare Saturday when Dad's home instead of working overtime. I shuffle downstairs, my hair a tangled mess, and find him flipping pancakes, his flannel shirt rolled up to his elbows. Mom's at the table, reading the paper, her glasses perched on her nose. "Morning, hero," Dad says, grinning as he slides a plate toward me. I blush, stabbing a pancake. It wasn't a big deal. Mom lowers her paper, her eyes soft. It was to Wilma, and to us. I shrug, but their pride warms me, like sunlight breaking through clouds. We eat together, and for once, I don't retreat to my phone or my room. I ask Dad about his job, the construction site he's been managing, and he lights up, telling me about a new project that's keeping him up at night. Mom chimes in about her nursing shifts, the patients who make her laugh, the ones who break her heart. I listen, really listen, and it feels like I'm seeing them for the first time. Over the next few weeks, something shifts. I start joining them for dinner without being prodded, asking questions instead of sulking. One afternoon, I catch Mom rubbing her neck after a double shift and offer to make tea. She blinks, surprised, then smiles. "Thanks, Joyce." Another day, I help Dad with the backyard fence, my hands clumsy with the hammer but willing. "You're getting the hang of it," he says, his grin wide, and I laugh, the sound lighter than it's been in months. At school, I notice things I didn't before. The kid who sits alone at lunch, the teacher who looks exhausted after class. I start saying hi, offering small smiles, and it's not much, but it feels like something. Wilma's voice echoes. Small acts add up. I'm starting to believe her. One evening, while Mom and I wash dishes, a new routine I didn't realize I'd started, I break the comfortable silence. "Mom, you know how you said my worries would seem small one day?" She nods, passing me a plate to dry. "Yeah." I focus on the plate, my fingers tracing its edge. I think I get it now. After helping Wilma, I started thinking about everything. how much you and Dad do for me, how I've been so focused on stupid stuff like sneakers. She pauses, her hands still in the soapy water, and looks at me, her eyes soft but searching. You're growing up, Joyce, she says quietly. It's not about never being selfish, it's about choosing to be more. I nod, my throat tight, feeling like I'm stepping into a version of myself I didn't know existed. I lie awake that night, staring at my ceiling. The poster's less a rebellion now, and more a reminder of who I was. I think about Wilma, about the pool, about the choice that felt so instinctive but changed how I see the world. I've always felt like I didn't fit in, but maybe that's not the point. Maybe it's about standing out, not for attention, but for something bigger. I grab my notebook, the one I used to doodle band logos in, and start writing. Not about Lucas or sneakers, but about what I want, to help people, to make a difference, like Mom does at the hospital. The idea of medicine, not for status like Ingrid, but for impact, sparks something in me. It's not a full plan, but it's a start, a seed planted by a moment I didn't expect to matter. As I drift to sleep, Wilma's words linger. You just changed your destiny. For the first time, I believe I can. The kitchen smells of dish soap and chamomile tea, a quiet ritual Mom and I have settled into since the wedding. I'm drying a mug, its chipped edge familiar under my fingers, while Mom scrubs a pan, her movements steady despite the long shift etched into the lines of her face. The radio hums softly, a jazz station she loves, and for once, I don't mind it. The past few weeks have been different, less slamming doors, fewer eye rolls, more moments like this, where I'm not just here, but present. Wilma's words from that night by the pool keep circling in my head. Small acts add up. They're starting to, in ways I didn't expect. I catch myself listening when Dad talks about his day, helping with chores without being asked, noticing the world beyond my phone screen. It's not like I've transformed overnight. I still sulk when things don't go my way, but I'm trying, and that feels like something. At school, the change is subtle but real. I sit with the quiet kid at lunch one day, a boy named Ethan, who draws manga in his notebook. Cool sketch, I say, nodding at his page, and his shy smile surprises me. I start waving to our janitor, Mr. Perez, who always looks tired but grateful for a nod. These aren't big gestures, but they make me feel less like the angry, invisible girl I've been. Even Lucas, who still doesn't notice me, seems less like the center of my universe. I'm not chasing his attention anymore. I'm chasing something bigger, though I'm not sure what it is yet. At home, I surprised Dad by offering to paint the garage with him on a Saturday, the sun warm on my shoulders as we work side by side. You're full of surprises, kid, he says, paint flecking his glasses, and I grin, feeling closer to him than I have in years. One evening, I'm sprawled on my bed, my notebook open to a page of scribbled ideas. Medical school, maybe nursing like Mom, something that helps people. The posters on my ceiling feel like relics of a different Joyce, one who thought rebellion was enough. My phone buzzes, a group chat about some party I don't care about, and I mute it, turning back to my notebook. I write about Wilma, about the pool, about how jumping in felt like waking up. I've been so focused on fitting in, on being seen, that I never thought about seeing others. Now I can't stop. I think about Mom's patience, the stories she tells of kids who need someone to hold their hand, of families who need hope. I want to be part of that, not for glory, but because it matters. Joyce, dinner! Mom calls, and I head downstairs without hesitation, a new habit that feels right. Over spaghetti, I ask Dad about his latest project, a community center he's building. His eyes light up and Mom joins in, talking about a patient who drew her a picture. I listen, asking questions, and it's like we're a team, not just 3 people sharing a table. After dinner, I help clear the plates, and Mom raises an eyebrow. Who are you, and what have you done with my daughter? She teases. I laugh, the sound easy. Just trying something new, I say, and she squeezes my shoulder, her touch warm and steady. Later, I'm in my room, scrolling through college websites, my heart racing at the idea of medical school. It's daunting. Years of study, exams, debt, but the thought of helping someone like Wilma, or like Mom's patients, makes it feel worth it. I find a program for pre-med at a state university, affordable enough that I might not burden Mom and Dad too much. I bookmark it, my fingers trembling with excitement and nerves. I think about calling Wilma, wondering if she'd be proud, but I don't have her number. Instead, I text on Elaine, asking if she can connect us. Her reply is quick. Wilma's been asking about you. I'll pass along her contact. My chest warms, like I've found a piece of something I didn't know I was missing. The next day, I'm at school, walking past the group chat kids flaunting their new sneakers. For the first time, I don't feel that familiar pang of envy. I smile at Ethan, who's sketching again, and he waves back, his face brighter. In class, I raise my hand, something I rarely do, and my teacher's surprised nod feels like a small victory.